my favorite things to do. Talking into this microphone.
It's too early to talk into that mic like that, dude.
What?
I can't handle the steam rolling off that one.
Can't handle when it gets close.
Oh, no. Oh, well, it's been a year, and I can say we've changed.
Yep, it really has. You could feel the difference from last episode to this episode. We were there, and now we're back here.
Yeah. We had one shot at an anniversary episode.
Yeah?
I think that it was kind of important to probably have said some thank yous for 1 year of time.
We didn't do that, did we?
No.
Nope, we completely forgot.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I think that we'd love to thank our loved ones for supporting us for a year.
Yes, absolutely.
Putting up with it for a year, listening to us from the other room for a year.
Yeah. And maybe shout out to the guy whose music everyone just listened to, Marley Rosner for making our intros and outros.
Yeah. And thank you for listening for a year. And thank you, JJ, for being with me on this podcast for a year. And thanks to all the guests that have come on over the last year.
And thank you, Andrew, for doing more behind the scenes work than I think anyone realizes.
It's actually kind of fun. It's gotten kind of fun. Before it was really stressful. Now that it's kind of I have a system set up on how we do things. It's really pretty fun. You get to do the fun part of it rather than the technical part of it now. Do you want to hit people with the heavy stuff first, dude?
Yeah, we should do that because we had kind of a like half of a special episode dedicated to this topic. Would you say?
I'd say that it was a important issue to both of us, and we definitely dedicated some time to it on an episode named for it. So we should talk about this.
Yeah. So the Federal Communications Commission has a what's the name of this thing?
Internet Freedom Act or something like that, which is
Restoring Internet Freedom. That's the name of the proposal.
That is the most
misleading name I think I've ever heard of.
I don't know. That's like I have some non-PC can't say on this podcast thanks to the nature of it, descriptions of what that title actually is, but we'll move on. It's misleading. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
So, let's just kind of go into like really quick, if we can, what this proposal does.
If you have time, go back through our archive. I'm going to look up the name of it right now. I'm looking something up on the podcast.
No.
I know.
This is what happens in year 2. Now all of a sudden we do research.
This is important enough to actually flip back through our 52 episodes and find the episode number. But you describe what's happening here and what is, in a sentence, net neutrality, JJ.
So net neutrality is the idea that your ISP is not allowed to treat your traffic or other traffic on the internet differently. It has to be neutral in how it decides. Any traffic is as good as any other traffic, right? The data is all the same. It's just, it's just data. Send the data to wherever it's supposed to go. Don't attempt to make certain data faster or cheaper or better or whatever.
So for some people that remember a time when you had to call after 6 p.m. if you were calling long distance on your phone, this is a somewhat reasonable simile to that.
Yeah,
your phone call is a phone call is a phone call. It doesn't kind of matter how far it goes, really. They shouldn't be charging you extra, whether you call California or New York. Same with internet traffic. If you get data from Netflix, or you get data from the New York Times, or you get data from, FCC.gov, it should all be the same data.
Right. And, the Federal Communication Commission under President Obama put into place all these rules that, attempted to force ISPs to uphold this standard and, make some rules about like, you have to get consumer consent before sharing or using their browsing history, or, doing some other things would require opt-in permission as opposed to opt-out permission. And it's sort of an attempt to make the broadband market a little bit more competitive, because I don't know if it's true for you, Andrew, but there actually aren't that many choices for broadband providers where I live. I kind of have two.
I get cable and I get DSL Plus, and those are two separate providers on two separate cables, and that's the only access I have to providers.
And we're lucky that we have more than one choice. There are a lot of places that only have one. And in fact, I think it's pretty true that most apartment buildings have one, and you get that one or you get nothing.
Yep.
So in sort of an attempt to regulate this kind of, monopolistic market, they introduced these rules. And now that the administrations have changed, the new Federal Communication Commission chair has decided, all those rules that we put in place, how about we just get rid of all of them, because it's not fair that the ISPs can't compete with Facebook.
There's a long episode that we mentioned, and that is episode 40. And episode 40 is called The Primer and Net Neutrality. And go back and listen to it, because we make an in-depth argument about this is not a left or right issue. This is a consumer versus non-consumer issue. And we feel pretty strongly about it on this show as someone's that use the internet very regularly and with, a stake in how things are used. But go listen to that episode. Hopefully in that amount of time, we can convince you to feel that, your rights as a consumer, and most of us matter, and that you should do something about it. We will post a link to this new FCC proposal, which is currently in the draft stage, and hopefully you can go read it, form an opinion based on, the interactivity here. And if you feel strongly about it like we do, there's an option on the link we'll post for you to comment and tell them how you feel about it. You should go do that, because last time this came up, I think 4 million plus people said you need to keep this type of rule in place. You need to make sure that Title II protections extend across all spectrums of communication, not just telephones. And they upheld that. So maybe if we can do that again, they will see that consumers have an opinion again.
Well, I'm not too hopeful that they're going to continue with the Title II protections, but if they put some kind of protections instead of literally none at all, I would at least be happier than what they're currently proposing. Any
victory in terms of making sure that consumer protections are at least somewhat in place for making sure your data is treated equally and that your privacy matters is a victory.
I really just want to say that, I don't understand how this idea that somehow your ISP needs to compete with Facebook makes any sense whatsoever. I know we talked about it in episode 40, and people should definitely listen to it, but Facebook makes its money by selling data, right? Like selling consumers the data of its users to people, marketers and stuff. That's where Facebook's money comes from. Surprise, if you didn't realize Facebook was free, it's because they're selling your information. Your ISP makes money because you pay them.
So their argument is that they don't make enough money from you paying them for them to upgrade, expand, or maintain the services they're providing at the price they're having to provide it. And if they are going to try and expand broadband, which is now 25 megabit per second, they'd either have to raise prices or find other sources of revenue. And that's their argument. Also, they can't protect their monopolies if they don't have tons of money to protect their monopolies.
And so their other source of revenue is going to be to sell your browsing history to people?
That's the argument, that they can open a stream of revenue that way. I've heard convincing problems with Title II protection, which is, say that there's Title II much like, phone lines are the same phone lines we've had for 50, 60 years because that's what's in place. That's what, they were told was going to be put in place. Imagine if they'd done that when DSL was popular.
Sure.
We'd have DSL versus, we had cable. So I don't know that argument's as good as I thought it was, because cable's been around as long as DSL, and they're using cable. So anyway, the argument is, it will stifle innovation in the delivery space. You won't have any fiber rollout. Well, I don't know that that's true. Google's
we're not getting fiber rollout out here in the suburbs anytime soon anyway.
Yeah,
so let's just go ahead and say that, I don't care.
Yeah, creating a sustainable model to deliver service is a good idea. God, I didn't think this discussion was going to go as far. I am trying to give credence to the market logic that says that, all these companies need to make money, and that innovation in the space might come from letting them open up to make money. But at the same time, data is data, and communication is a human right, and putting market caps on that, putting the ability to what am I trying to say? Putting the ability for companies to capitalize on communications is not the best plan going forward.
I just think that, maybe if it's the case that they're unable to make money off of the price they're selling things at, it's like the market is telling them to raise their prices.
Right, but then what are you going to do you're going to subsidize all the people that...
I didn't have a plan for what to do, but it's, they talk about wanting to follow the market so much. Let's go. Why aren't they willing to do it, right? So...
Okay, well, so it's so expensive, then it opens up the space for another provider who's lower priced, and then, we've got to fight local governments and state governments to break up the monopolies on communications and, right, delivery of those.
Right. It's a big problem. I get it. So, I really would encourage people, if this topic is interesting and as important to you as it is to us, follow that link that will be in the show notes somewhere to the FCC's page, and you can go ahead and express your opinions in the comments. Just let them know. I think Andrew and I agree. This is not a partisan issue. It doesn't matter which side of the spectrum politically you are on here. If you use the internet, you should be on the side of, hey, this doesn't seem fair or good for anyone who uses the internet.
I do want to leave room to say there may be other arguments for how to proceed in terms of...
Yeah, I agree with that.
Regulating the space of the internet. However, the direction of just let the internet providers do whatever they want and do whatever they want with your data, and, let them throttle certain experiences of communication is not the way to do it. Directly not.
Yeah. I mean, the reason the internet is so vibrant and interesting and great as it is now is because of the innovation that took place, because these websites and stuff all had equal access to every person on the internet. If that changes, the internet suddenly becomes not as interesting and as, good as it is now. So,
all right. Well, that was our mini net neutrality episode, which I'm sure will come back again.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not, because hopefully they'll just, realize that everyone likes it and that we should keep it around.
All right. Let's lighten it up.
Let's lighten it up, Andrew.
Is your house still standing?
It is currently still standing at this moment. So that's good. The homeowner's minute here. I think we are segueing into in an A+ segue fashion. I actually don't have anything wrong with my home at the exact moment, but my vehicle, Andrew.
Did the smog? What happened with the smog?
And I haven't done it yet. I don't know what's happened, but I believe I will be doing that after this show.
Okay. So, can you need to post. You got to post about what happens. Some Twitter or something. You got to post it.
Okay.
The people need to know.
I've been told that I should take a book.
Yeah, you're going to be there 30 minutes.
For wherever I go.
Also, make sure you got gas in your car.
Okay. I hadn't thought about that, but that makes sense. If it's going to run
30 minutes, yeah.
Got to have gas in it. That's pretty sensible.
Did you make an appointment?
Yeah, I called a place just this morning.
Because otherwise you got to wait like 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Right on. Well, I got a homeowner's minute for you.
Let's hear it.
My spray paint project that I've mentioned on this before.
Oh, yeah, huh?
So I, to refresh people or maybe grab a new listener and explain, since it's, 1 year later.
Yeah.
I've been slowly, meticulously building an office / recording space. And in said space, I had procured an old style tanker desk that had been repainted. This is an amazing desk, by the way. And eventually I'm going to put a wood top on it. But...
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm going to make a nice pine stained wood surface for the top of it. Because the guy that had it before me had drilled into it some monitor stands so he could rearrange them. So there's like a veneer top that was on here, but it's got like a bunch of holes in it. So a nice wood top instead. But he spray painted the desk green and gray, actually. Yep. Which is better looking than it sounds.
The first time you look at it, you're like, huh. But then, it's all right if you think about it a little more.
Sure. It's well done, so it looks okay.
I actually didn't know it was painted over from the original color. I thought that was the original color.
No, the original color is the entire thing was like a beige.
Okay.
You can see a few places where it's chipped.
This is definitely an improvement over beige.
I bought an IKEA cabinet a few months ago that I have had a bad word amount of time trying to spray paint to match the desk. I found out why, JJ.
Why is that, Andrew?
Humidity.
Yeah?
When I had started the project, it was quite humid, which required many days of extra drying time, which I didn't foresee or give to the certain parts that I had painted, and then caused the paint to pull up, which is what I've talked about before on the show. It gave like a spider web cracking thing. So it's taken me months to paint this cabinet to match the desk.
It's a really long time.
Yeah, well,
But did we get there?
We're there, man. It's done.
Oh, man.
It's done. It's one step closer to the office completion. Now I just have to paint my trim, and then we're complete in here, man. And then, I may get some acoustic padding for the walls once all the furniture's in.
Nice. Oh yeah, that would probably. That's like that's the fancy man's stuff over there.
I mean, that's down the road, right? We get the furniture in, get the rug in, put it all down, make sure that the sound is good, and then if it's fine, then we're good.
All right, dude. Wow, that's a big accomplishment, man. Yeah. That's pretty good.
It looks pretty good. It came out all right. I think I may have spent more on spray paint than the actual cabinet. At the end of
if you bought the cabinet from IKEA, that's also probable.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the most expensive starting cost.
Yeah. Oh well. That's okay. It's a good project. Anyway, by the time this comes out, I'll have Instagrammed a picture of the completed cabinet so that people can go check there or Facebook and take a picture, take awesome. A look, and see what the color scheme is.
That's really awesome.
So, homeowner's minute turned out good for me this time. No exploding toilet.
Well, I'm really excited because that's look, anything is better than an exploding toilet. That's got to be the low point.
I've got some news for you.
The news.
I'm going to paint a picture for a minute.
Okay.
Of a game when we were younger men that I would get home from a day's work, and JJ and I were both more available in terms of video game time. We'd both boot up our computers and I'd text, I'm ready to go, play a co-op game together, which involved fast-paced combat between 4 players versus another 4 players, where the worst player on the team was generally not one of us, but somebody else on the internet, and they would scream at us about how bad we were at the game. We'd level characters and eventually fight to the other team's core and destroy it. and have a pretty good time and spend lots and lots of hours over the course of a week doing these multiplayer versus matches with different heroes and exploring our capacity for self-punishment in terms of how bad we were at a game.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know that we've ever fully discussed Dota 2 on this.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, we both kind of fell off with it by the time we started recording this show.
I definitely used to play a lot of Dota, and I sort of have stopped in more recent years. I think it's still installed, and like I could go back and play it, but yeah.
You've heard us talk about Heroes of the Storm on here and describe what type of game that is. It's a MOBA game, just like that. Dota 2 has been around for a long time, and it recently had a pretty big patch to change the game up a little bit, change the map, change a lot of things. There's some pretty big news again on Dota 2, and it kind of brought it back onto my radar, JJ.
Oh?
The International, which is their huge tournament. I mean, millions of dollars in prizes for teams, by the way, when I say huge tournament.
It's like the winning team gets like, $6 million split 5 ways or something. And that's just the winner, not the other teams who also get lots of money.
I want to let that sink in for people that don't, follow certain games as much. 6 million.
And that's just the winner's prize. It's not the entire prize pool, right?
How do they usually fund that a little bit, JJ?
So in the past, the internationals have been crowdfunded through people buying these in-game cosmetics and like goodies and stuff that you can use while playing the game to make your characters look flashy or say cool things or whatever. They're not supposed to affect the gameplay. But they, give your character a cool effect on their spell or, make it look like they're wearing a fun snow dress or, have little ice particles floating around you or something like that.
There's also one huge item that usually costs $10 or so. The International Battle Pass, or what do they call it? It used to be called the Compendium. Now it's changed to the Battle Pass.
Right. And there's like been a bunch of changes since they started doing these battle passes, and there's like in client like leveling of the pass so that you can like gain levels for the more you play, and the different ways that you play contribute to that. And I have not played much since they changed to that system, so I can't talk to it as much. But again, all the items and stuff you would purchase would also continue to level this up, and you would get, more loot boxes and whatnot as part of that.
So it's a pretty commercialized thing. And I think that maybe they've realized that providing essentially cosmetics is starting to wear thin a little bit. This year's Battle Pass, JJ, comes with something a little bit different.
Oh?
Single player campaign.
Oh, interesting.
Well, not single player, co-op, I guess, technically.
Okay, so they have done co-op stuff in the past, like co-op versus AI. Those are some of the more fun, like they've done them seasonally sometimes. Mm-hmm. I know they did one for Chinese New Year a few years ago, where you take the Dota heroes or a certain selection of them and put them together. They've done like a horde mode kind of thing also.
Cool.
And you have to fight versus some challenge. In one case, it was one really big monster that had like a really insane amount of health. In another one, it was kind of like there was a map that they had been created, and monsters would spawn in a kind of like tower defense-ish kind of way, and you would have to use your hero's abilities and stuff to hold off the various waves of monsters while earning money to buy more items to get stronger and stuff like that. So it's not unheard of for them to do something like this.
Okay.
But I have not heard of it being emphasized as like, you have to pay to get this pass to get access to it before. That's new.
Yeah, so the new pass comes with all this sort of tournament related items. You get to level up things, you get loot boxes just like in the past, but now there's a 2-part campaign, one which comes out when the battle pass comes out and one which comes out in July, of a levelable and it sounds like it'll stick around afterwards, but like the more times you play the campaign and the better you get at it and the better you do the missions in the campaign, the more you level your battle pass. Co-op.
Interesting. That's a cool idea.
I'm there, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but I think the problem for you is going to be that it's still going to involve playing Dota.
Okay.
At some level. But I mean, if you don't like the idea of already playing Dota, then doing this is not going to be fun either, right?
Okay. Well, you're bringing me down here, Bruce.
Sorry, Bruce. But it is a cool idea, and I'm happy that they're exploring that kind of stuff because there's definitely room for that in that engine, in that arena.
Yeah, much like Overwatch or Heroes of the Storm, it should be way more expandable than it seems to have been in the past. They seem very resistant to letting the game open up to different modes, etc.
Yeah, and they have recently, well, I mean, it's been a while now, but there are custom maps available in Dota 2 now, so people can, tweak the game and do their own kind of stuff with it. Create whole different scenarios and stuff that have been popular in the past, but I think in the current day, those maps are not typically that popular, so you don't get a wide selection of them just because no one's playing all the different ones that are out there, right?
Yeah. Well, you did bring up a good point that I didn't consider. I saw this news story and I got really excited about it to say, wow, that game got a campaign. That sounds amazing. And then you did bring up a good point. I'd have to play it.
And it also is not necessarily like a campaign, probably.
Yeah.
I suspect it's going to be like, hey, here's like a 45-minute to an hour thing that has some cool, story type elements and stuff. And then, that'll be that. And it's not going to necessarily, it's still going to feel like playing Dota, right? Because that's what the game is.
Sure. Well, I don't know that I have time for it because I've been kind of busy trying to make good on a little bit of a promise I made last episode, man.
Oh, yeah?
In the tiny amount of spare time between something else we've been doing, which we'll get to, and working on some side projects and housework, etc., I've been jamming on some Skyrim again, dude.
Oh, yeah? Are we back to it?
We're back.
Awesome.
I did find myself playing a little bit differently than I did before.
You have a purpose now. You have a goal.
Before it was kind of like, well, let's explore over here and let's see what this quest line's about. This time I got on the main quest line and I was looking into where the Elder Scroll is at. I'm standing in the College at Winterhold, which is, a good 1,000 feet in the air. And I'm looking about where I have to go. And I thought, okay, well, I have to run way south and then way back north if I'm going to get there. Or I can spend my dragon souls, get this ethereal spell, and just jump off this cliff.
That seems all right.
So it's become a sprint on the main quest line, I think, to make good on this and also find out how much longer I actually have on the main quest line.
Yeah, that's the kind of game where you can just ignore the main quest line from the get-go and kind of play the game for, 80 hours never touching the main quest. So I don't know how far you were in before. I think you said you had done some work on it, right?
I thought I was pretty close, and now it's just run here, run here, run here, run here. So
yeah, it's still an RPG.
Yeah. So it's changed my strategy a little bit. I thought, I was going to level my blacksmithing all the way up and make the best armor in the game and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to see how far we can get. Current level, see if I've actually over-leveled the main quest already.
Well, I think hopefully the systems will tune the difficulty for whatever level you're at, right?
Yeah, so there should be more to report on that pretty soon. I am enjoying getting back into it, though. My archery skills need a little polishing in terms of my aim, but
you'll get there. I believe in you. You're the dragon kin or whatever, right? Isn't that the name? What's the name of the guy?
I think you either say Davokeen or Dragonborn, but you just mixed the two, and that came up with the pretty good Dungeons and Dragons reference there.
Hey, something eye of the beholder.
Something. Don't look at a beholder.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes.
Okay.
Don't look into the eye of the beholder. I think that's the phrase.
How's Bayonetta / Persona treating you? How do you split time between games that are that disparate?
So the thing is, right, they're palate cleansers from each other. When I get very frustrated playing Bayonetta, because Bayonetta is a frustrating game because it's hard. And the Bayonetta has a system where like every time you complete, they call them verses, but like basically like a chapter or a section of a level, it scores you. And so it gives you like, you get a medal, right? It's like it counts your time, it counts how much damage you took, how many combo points you created, and then it gives you a medal, right? You get, I think it's like stone, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and then there's pure platinum. And
pure platinum?
Right, yes. It's if you get platinum in all three of the categories, you get a pure platinum as opposed to just a regular platinum.
Isn't there anything above platinum that we could have come up with?
No. The company that made it is named Platinum, so they like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So these, these various sections, right? You get how much, for every chapter that scores you, and then it takes them and divides by 3, right? So it's like an equal weighted thing. Well, like, dude, it's much easier to get some of these than other ones, right? It's like having a quick time or doing a lot of damage is way easier, or having like a really long combo might be way easier than taking no damage, depending on who you're fighting or whatever.
And you have to try and do both?
And you have to all of them if you want to get the highest rank, right?
Yeah, because having a quick time, you just run through level.
Well, so the levels end when you kill all the monsters. It seals you into areas where the monsters are in a lot of cases.
Oh, okay. You can't just hit the exit.
Right. So it's like when you kill the last monster in this area, then the time stops and it pops up your scores or whatever.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
So, and if you die, right, obviously you have to start over. And so it's just like a lot of like, okay, here's this, okay, there's like 4 enemies here. I got to figure out how to like, use my combos to like jump between them as fast as possible and use my attacks to, keep dodging and like shooting my hair attack over here while I'm attacking this guy and all this stuff.
Did you just say hair attack?
Dude, you haven't played this game. The hair attacks are like 80% of what you do.
Okay. Time out.
Okay.
Name in whatever words you want to use, not the game's name for them.
Okay.
Name some of the different types of attacks, because hair attack and gun shoe attack, I think we all deserve to know the other weird things that you aren't able to do.
The game calls the hair attacks wicked weaves, but basically it's like, you use your magical hair to open a portal or something, and a giant arm covered in hair punches them. So those attacks are it's sort of like a combo finisher, right? So as you're performing your punches and your kicks and your gunshots and whatnot, you do a combo, and then the combo ends with this attack that finishes the combo off and does a whole big chunk of damage and maybe knocks them into the air or knocks them over on the ground or, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a whole move list of like, 800 different moves or whatever. And that change varies on what weapon type you have equipped. And you gain weapons as you go throughout the game. But like, I currently have a sword, I have a whip, I have claws that can be either fire or lightning. I have a pair of ice skates. I have shotguns, and I have regular guns.
Do you wear the ice skates on your hands or your feet?
Either, and that's the best part. Most of the weapons can be equipped to either your hands or your feet.
Because I was going to say,
so you can have if you put guns on your hands and shotguns on your feet if you want.
But if you put the ice skates on your feet, then you don't have your gun shoes, so you'd have to wear them on your hands.
That's right. You don't have the gun shoes if you have them on your feet. If you don't have them on your feet. But what if you had like claws there instead that were like fire
foot
and you had
claw?
Shotguns in your hands?
Oh my god.
Or what if you had a whip in your hands? Like the whip and the sword, I think you can't put on your feet. Those ones don't work.
Well, that would just be too ridiculous.
Yeah, come on. How would that even work? We haven't gotten to all of the ridiculous weapons. There are rocket launchers in this game. You could put those on your feet. I haven't gotten to the rocket launcher yet. but I know it's there. What else is there? There's like nunchucks. There are lightsabers. It's a very silly game in terms of the weaponry and stuff. But each of these weapons has like its own set of combos and these like finishing, attacks. So, depending on which weapon you're using will determine how many different strikes you get in each combo and all this stuff. It's very varied, right?
Yeah.
And so because there's all this variability, and you can press one button in the middle of a combo to switch between one set of weapons and your other set of weapons.
Oh, come on.
Yes, you can. And then, continue the combo that way if you want. So I knock them up into the air. Okay, switch over to the set with all my guns and just shoot him while he's up in the air, or jump up there and do a bunch of air combo stuff. The game is ridiculous. And it's part of what makes it so fun is that you can do all this, but also to compensate for the fact that you have all of this pretty ridiculous amount of customizability, right? The enemies are pretty unforgiving. So if you haven't learned their patterns and their timings and stuff, they're going to beat your face badly. So as a result, I end up dying a lot. So when I get frustrated with that and decide that I've had too much of this dying stuff, it's nice to go switch over to Persona, where you can sit and be like, hey, how are my friends doing? My high school friends. Let's find out what's going on with this old guy who runs a coffee shop. Oh, that's cool. He makes curry. I like curry. Yeah.
You kind of created your own little Buffy between those two games, right? You go out and slay, and then you come back to your high school friends.
Exactly. It's really nice. And then, you can play the Persona and enjoy that. It's a completely different, it's all turn-based. There's, a lot of text, a lot of talking, just very slow paced, relaxing. And then when I have played that for several hours, Persona, at some point you're like, okay, I'm kind of good. I feel like I need to do something more active. Oh, I could go play Bayonetta and mash a bunch of combos again and back and forth.
Nice, man. Well, we've also
I haven't been playing as much as I want of either of these games because of this other game.
Heroes of the Storm.
That's right, Andrew.
Heroes of the Storm has prevented me a little bit from completing my campaign promise to finish off Twin Peaks.
Are you running for mayor?
Yeah, I'm mayor of this podcast.
Man, I guess I didn't check in some of these times, so you won by default.
I know. Pro Tem was on the table, and you left it there.
I just gave up. What am I doing? So the Heroes of the Storm has eaten into your Twin Peaks watching time?
Yeah, I generally do Hearthstone in Twin Peaks, or chores in Twin Peaks, or...
Would you say Twin Peaks and chill?
Twin Peaks and chill, that sort of stuff. Especially in the second season, where I'm kind of what happened?
The second season is really tough, dude.
Let me, however, stop and say, when I made that prediction, much like some uninformed politicians, to continue the metaphor, I didn't know all the facts. And I thought it was 8 episodes in the first season and 8 episodes in the second season. But there are more than 20 in the second season.
Yeah, it's long.
So I'm a little bit farther from finishing than I had hoped to be this week.
Wasn't the first season... The first season was more than 8 episodes, though, right?
Netflix has it broken into 8 episodes and 22 or 24. I don't know the exact number on the second. It's more than 20. But it's pretty clear that the first season ends at the 8th episode, because there's a pretty large cliffhanger.
They resolve the thing, right?
They resolve the thing in the second season, first episode. So it's a pretty natural break. That wouldn't surprise me that was the way that it was originally.
Or maybe it was like a mid-season replacement.
I'm going to guess that these are the original seasons, but we're not going to go into spoilers, because I'm going to wait to finish and then we'll talk about that show.
Okay.
Which I do really want to talk about. So I'm hoping to be done with it by
Me too.
Next episode.
Okay. Well, so, a little tease there for people who want to get into some Twin Peaksiness. But what we were doing instead, Andrew, was playing Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah. Chasing skins is really what we're doing. We're not... I like Heroes of the Storm. It's a good time sink, especially last week. We didn't talk about it in the last episode because we were playing the version of the game that we both enjoy, which is all mid versus AI on easy with any hero you want, and you just crush the computer, and you have a good time doing it. And you can watch Twin Peaks at the same time. Yeah,
because it's really not engaging to the brain at all.
No, but it's a good time waster.
It is.
And not particularly challenging, and you can try out heroes, and nobody's yelling at you about how bad you are at the game, much like Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
So to give a little background, they have something going on called the Nexus Challenge 2.0, which we talked about a long time ago on this podcast. They gave away Genji skins in Overwatch if you played Heroes of the Storm 5 or 10 games or something like that. And they're doing that again because Heroes of the Storm just launched Heroes of the Storm 2.0, which made the game a lot more like Overwatch, gave you loot boxes, and really opened up the space to something they should have done a long time ago, which is skins and create
they
cosmetics.
had a lot of cosmetics and customization stuff, but like they took it to an extremely new level now.
Oh yeah, it's
way different.
Yeah. And they added more maps to the game and new hero and all that sort of stuff, and they call it 2.0, hoping that people will come back.
Yep.
And as part of their 4-week-long launch event, every week you get a set of quests. And the first 2 weeks were rife with set quest item rewards that are also in Overwatch.
Correct.
And look, everybody just wants the D.Va skin, so let's go straight to that one.
Well, let's be clear. They're also giving you a chance to get that skin that we got the first time.
Oh, true.
Right. So the first week, the one that we were doing last week in the kind of the AI mode was this Genji skin. So you could get that first, and then after you complete that, you have another set of quests that you have to do, and then you finish that quest and you get this D.Va skin.
Police,
which actually is a pretty
D.Va.
sweet looking skin. It's actually really cool.
Oh man,
looking.
It's pretty cool looking. Police Chief D.Va.
She looks like a Korean police officer, and her mech is all painted like a police car and stuff.
You know what I haven't seen? The next skin for D.Va needs to be turning the mech into the what's the robot called from RoboCop?
ED-209?
ED-209.
Oh man, yes.
Can you imagine?
And then D.Va wearing like a RoboCop helmet.
Please.
That would be really good.
I just need that. I need it.
They're never going to do that in Overwatch because that sounds like it's not in their universe, but like Heroes of the Storm could do it.
I don't know. I mean, it's just a skin.
Yeah, but like they have characters in pajamas and like Nova in a roller derby outfit in Heroes of the Storm, so they can do anything.
Okay. Someone somewhere, if you're listening to this and you're an artist, please make a sketch ED-209 D.Va suit with RoboCop D.Va in front of it and submit it to us at podcast@WeWereGamers. And I will put this in the hands of someone on the Overwatch team.
That would be so wonderful.
I know enough people that I could get it into somebody's hands and say, please, for the love of everything Overwatch, make this.
That would be so wonderful.
It needs to happen. Anyway, back to Heroes of the Storm.
A game that we clearly love so much we're very interested in talking about.
No, but it is something that people should know they can do, but be prepared because it's taking a lot of time now thanks to the fact that they took away the AI mode for completing the quests. What is that about?
Yeah. They want you to play against other humans, the way the game is actually meant to be played. They want you to play the game instead of our weird version of the game.
Well, our weird version of the game takes about 7 or 8 minutes per round. Their version of the game takes 35 to 40.
It's like 30 or less. Depends on how badly or goodly you're winning, I guess.
Yeah.
I just want to go ahead and point out that Dota games routinely take 30 minutes at the minimum and go closer to like 45 to an hour. So, you're still winning here if all you care about is time spent. It is quicker to play a game of Heroes of the Storm.
I don't know, man. Why are we chasing the skins? They're just so cool, I guess.
I don't know. I really like that D.Va skin. I don't even know that I played D.Va that much, and I like it.
I guess it's there, and you feel like you need to do it, right?
Well, at least, in terms of getting in on their event thing, you do get some cool stuff. There's they had those like bundle packs of heroes that you can unlock like a third of the roster permanently for free. That's a pretty good deal. So, if you ever think you might possibly want to play Heroes of the Storm itself for a while, this would be a good thing to get in on just for that alone, right?
True, that is a good value, especially for new players. They do have like a pack for kind of getting a little bit of the easier heroes that kind of do anything of those ones. So you can get 20 characters that are kind of easier to use straight off the bat. That's not a bad deal.
And you can try every hero before you buy them, or before you like unlock them. So there's like a button to like go, oh, try this hero, and you get to mess around with them for a little bit.
Right. We've talked a little bit about access, and I don't begrudge anybody creating items that, as long as they can be accessed by anyone for a certain amount of time. Like, you just have to play this game, right? If you miss it, you miss it because you chose not to play the game during the time period.
Mm-hmm.
I feel kind of weird about, I guess maybe cross-platforming the game a little bit because of the vitriol that we've experienced a little during the non-AI games. And that's maybe what I wanted to get to, is that letting people from another game come over and play in the other game and experience it's a good idea, but then throwing them in the deep end of making sure they play against other players and doing that for like 3 more weeks now, when maybe they don't really want to, especially because of the way that MOBA players tend to treat other people that aren't very good at the game. And then coupled with the fact that 4 out of the 5 games that we were forced to play, I lost, and most of them badly because teams don't know what they're doing, really.
Yeah.
Doesn't make the experience really that much fun and won't bring people back. I'm kind of curious what you think in terms of cross-platforming rewards so that people play them. Is there a way that this would have been more fun? Or that they could ensure that it's more fun, or that they could ensure that people from another game that are trying to learn this game don't have to play against or with people that are going to treat them poorly because they don't know what they're doing?
So, no, there's really no... I mean, you can't just like segregate all these players off into like some kind of like new player ghetto or something and say like, all you people that don't know what you're doing, oh, go play over here, and all the experienced players go over here. And then, because then like how do you determine that, and how do you make people so that it's fair in matchmaking and all this sort of stuff?
Games played, maybe.
But that's not a good determiner of skill. That's not how you can decide.
Well, if you've only ever
right?
played 5 games of Heroes of the Storm, you think that's not a good determiner of skill versus someone like you or me who's played 500?
I haven't played 500 games of Heroes of the Storm.
I was trying to come up with nice alliteration,
but like,
JJ.
Okay, Andrew. But because I've played a game like Heroes of the Storm before,
True.
I already know enough about how these games work that if I played a group of people who have never played this kind of game before, I would crush them, right?
Right. I mean, anytime you and I lane together in that game, we do very well on evenly matched lanes.
Right. And so, it's a really hard problem when you then have to expand that idea across like, 50,000 players all at once, right? Like, the systems for the game need to be the systems for the game, and if people want to enter into it, and if it doesn't treat new players well, then that's something you can work with in the system, but you can't just like, silo off everyone because you don't like certain members of your community being jerks to people online. Because spoiler alert, if those people get good at the game, they're going to meet those people eventually. So, like, if you want to talk about like punishments and stuff for people that are, being that way, like, yeah, sure.
I'm not really complaining about people being abusive to other people, because they're always going to be that way, even when you become like, as an example, right? My player level in that game is like in the 50s because they've changed the way that your player level works. It doesn't
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many games you've played anymore. It's how far you've leveled your heroes. Well, I played a ton of games versus AI and leveled my heroes a bunch, right?
Right.
That doesn't mean that I'm as good as someone with a level 60 player level because they probably have played the game against players more than I have. So they're going to be abusive to me because I'm not as good as them. And I can take that because I've played a MOBA before. My point is putting these cross-promotional things in brings in players that they're trying to keep in the game. And if they can't make the experience for those players a good one, some of the people that I was playing with that don't play it very often got yelled at because they wanted to come from Overwatch and play their Genji character and only play their Genji character. And Genji's not an easy character to use in Heroes of the Storm. And they were just getting killed all the time. So if you're going to put cross-promotional things in, I don't think it's a good idea to do it unless you can make the system work for players that are going to come over from another game and make them have a good experience, which they did have during versus AI games, and they don't have now that they've taken that away.
I kind of disagree because I think the cross-promotional stuff is fine, but like at some point you have to let the people play the game, right? The game needs to be the thing that keeps them playing the game. You shouldn't be wanting to play the game because you get some cross-promotional thing for a different game that you like. You should be playing the game because you like the game or you enjoy playing the game. And if you don't like it, right, then after you get that skin for Overwatch, right, uninstall the game.
Well, that's the only reason we're playing it, so I don't know that we can say that you shouldn't play it because of things for other games.
Well, but that's my point, right? Like, if we're only playing this to get a thing for a different game, how much do we actually like this game? Like, not really that much. So, like, you have to suffer a little bit to get this thing that you want. Okay. If you like the thing that you're doing to get that thing, then keep playing. If you don't, after you get your thing, uninstall it. I don't see a big...
Well,
the people where you're not like converting new lifelong Heroes of the Storm fans by offering an Overwatch skin in Heroes of the Storm.
Well, that's clearly their goal is to try and expose people to the game.
Expose people to the game.
Right.
Yes.
In order to create a player base. Can I make a counter argument to your argument?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Heroes of the Storm is not only versus, 5v5. It's also custom games, and it's also, brawls. They have brawls in that game that are... So maybe letting people complete this in more than just now, 5v5 matches is all you get. Let them go out and say, instead of play 5 games, maybe it's earn 3 player levels, right? And then they can do that any way that you gain experience for your character. Some other way to let them take in more than just bash on another 5 people for 5 games and watch yourself lose 4 out of 5 of them, and then hope that you convert people. Maybe in week 3, okay, so you did week 1 versus AI, week 2, 5v5 matches, week 3, player level, which you can gain in custom games or something like that?
I don't know. It depends on what their goal is with this, right? I mean, if they are trying to prop up the size of their matchmaking base, then you want to be funneling people into the most important modes, which in their mind would be these 5v5 modes, right? Because that's where the ranked modes are. That's where the most competition is at, right? These other ancillary modes and stuff are fun and probably, more interesting to people who are not that interested in the main game like you and I, but, maybe aren't the thing that they want to be emphasizing about the game.
I can believe that, and I can understand that point, especially. I guess I'm overstating my disenjoyment of 5v5s because I've played these types of games so much that I wish that we could go out and do the things we enjoy, which is more like custom maps.
Right. And like you sort of knew going into this that you were like, well, this is not going to be awesome. Right. Because we kind of knew what we liked and didn't like about the game already.
Right.
So, a person who has never played this game before, or maybe never played this type of game before, has no idea if they like the 5v5 stuff. Maybe they really learned to enjoy that competition. I don't know. Probably not, but you never know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess I wasn't imparting entirely a new player perspective like I should have been. Well, we've talked too much about Heroes of the Storm. I guess there's a larger argument to be made for companies like this about how to promote other games, but Blizzard's really the main company right now in terms of having cross promotions on all sorts of stuff like this.
There definitely aren't a lot of other companies that do this stuff. They'll be like, oh, you can get like, a skin for your character in Watch Dogs. That's another Ubisoft. Like he wears a t-shirt that says Assassin's Creed on it or something.
Well, the cross promotions tend to now be company to company. So like you can go on Twitch and you get your Watch Dogs skin, or you go on, I don't know, what's it, YouTube or what, I don't know, another service.
Yeah. Use
this other service and get something for a game, but never really like go play this other game and get something for this other game.
Get these FIFA cards by watching this FIFA stream or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, it's a weird, like, Blizzard is a pretty interesting studio in that they have a lot of online multiplayer games going at the same time that have like big communities. Mm-hmm. A lot of other video game companies don't have anything like that, right? Like they have their shooter that they put, Call of Duty comes out once a year and they support that for the next year.
Right.
And then a different Call of Duty comes out and everyone plays that one now.
Right.
There's not this like ongoing, continuing thing. And I don't know how you like handle the like cross promotion in that kind of world, So
yeah, that'd be kind of like,
it's a little uncharted waters,
It is for sure. Is it EA that's Call of Duty or no? It's Activision.
Activision. Yeah. Also Activision Blizzard. They're all the same thing.
Good point.
I guess it's worth pointing out that while we're talking about companies, sort of, apparently Overwatch is the most recent billion-dollar franchise for Activision Blizzard.
Woo!
So that's a lot of money that has been made in that game.
Did you see that in the South Korean runoff election, one of the candidates was using Overwatch play of the game replays to advertise her burns on other politicians?
Oh my God, that's amazing. Why are the politicians in other countries so much better than this one? Please, come here. I want to vote for you.
It's pretty great. There's got the like play of the game title card with her picture on it, and then it goes into like a debate, and it like every time she makes a burn, it does the like 100% on fire after you like knock out a character in Overwatch.
The like Overwatch. Oh my God, that's so good. Yeah, that's so good.
It's pretty great. All right. I think we've talked enough about Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm for 1 week. Next week will be a little bit of Twin Peaks action. I think it's going to take a while. I don't know, not full bonus episode status, but definitely a little while.
Well, themed episode perhaps.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I can't wait to talk to you about the Log Lady. So,
okay.
Let's get
I'm in. If anybody else has any comments that they want to get in about Twin Peaks before that happens, they should email us at podcast@wewergamers.com.
And hit up our website, which is wewergamers.com. Follow us on Facebook. Hit that like. Hit those shares. Do that social media presence on facebook.com/wewergamers. We have an Instagram account where you can see Andrew's bookshelf that is probably beautifully painted. I'm quite sure.
There are like 95 layers of spray paint on this thing.
My God, so crisp. And that'll be Instagram, We Were Gamers. And we have a Twitter account, which is @WeWereGamers. You can follow us on there too.
Yeah, it does more than just tell you when episodes are out. We post articles and things that are interesting to us and videos that you should watch all the time on there.
That's right. And you can get at that and get at us and tell us how you enjoy the show and how wonderful we are.
I want to do one last round of thank yous, starting with Marley for our music and Katie and Stephanie for putting up with this podcast for over a year at this point.
Over a year.
Over 1 year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you to you beautiful listeners out there. Thank you for listening.